And we are live. Aloha, everyone. Hey, happy Pride Month, and a big shout out to all of our LGBTQIA caregivers. Gosh, we hear your pain all the time. I know it's hard, especially to get support. So listen carefully, because I'm going to talk about how you could get supported in this show. And it's the Care and Caregiver Show right here. This is for you, for everybody, all walks of life. You're all welcome here. We're all caregivers. And I'm your host, Savvy, the founder of Give Me a Break, which is a nonprofit organization that cares for all caregivers. It's our job to bring back the joy of caregiving. And that's what we're here to do for you. We want to help you to survive. Remember that 50% of all caregivers will pass before the one that they are caring for. This is not an acceptable statistic. And I want to take just a quick moment and a deep breath and send out a shout to Ruth. And I know you're out there in spirit world or wherever you are and whatever next journey you've gone to, and you can hear this. But we have a caregiver down. After years and years of caring for her husband, she passed away a few days ago. And she's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I send my heart to the family and hope that there's a caregiver that can step in for her husband. But that statistic that I give you is real. We're losing our fellow caregivers, and we all need to step up and practice self-care and wellness. It's very important. So in your hearts, please send out some love for Ruth and her family. And I'm going to send that out as well. So I just wanted to make a mention of that. And I'm trying not to get choked up, because it's always hard when you hear that we lose one of our caregivers and one of our community. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take a deep breath in just a moment. Anyway, you can check us out on our website. Go to gab808.org. And if you have any questions or need some information, go onto that website and just go ahead and fill that caregiver support form out. Just fill it out, because, you know, we're not using it to gather information. We're not using it to, contact you if you don't need us. But if you have a question, that's the best way for us to get the information, get your information, and then get back to you with the information that you need. It helps us to do the research and know specifically what you want. So the best shots, go onto our website, gab808.org, fill out the form, get your resources, get what you need, get the answers. I know it's hard, and I know sometimes it's hard to do anything. The last thing you want to do is make a phone call to somebody and have to get stuck on hold. That's why we provide that form. So just fill it out, and then we'll text it back to you if you want. We'll send it back to you in email if you want. You don't have to talk to a live person. I know how hard that is. You're exhausted. The last thing you want to do is deal with anyone. Don't worry about it. We got you. We know what it's like. We're all caregivers just like you. And, we offer you that break. And we offer every single caregiver out there a break each week at our support sessions. Oh, I forgot to load my pictures today, so we're not going to have any. That's okay. You've all seen it a million times. It's free, it's online, and it's every Tuesday evening, Hawaii Standard Time at 8 p.m. I know that's hard for some of you, but you know what? If you've got a group of 3 or more people, and I don't care where you are in the world, you contact me, and I will figure out a time that works for all of us, and you'll have a support group. We'll form a support group. And if anyone's really interested in forming one anywhere as well, let me know. I'll help you. We'll get you all set up. We'll make sure that you have all of the outlines and all of the education you need and all the resources you need to do so. We're here to do that. And the more that we can hold hands, the better. And that reminds me, I was just looking on Facebook, and they were posting about how a year ago or how many years ago today, and it was earlier in the week, and it was maybe, I don't even know, 150 years ago, probably. No, not even. As that was when I was a kid. And so, what they did was this thing called Hands Across America. And some of you may remember it. I definitely remember it, and I was part of it. And we all held hands, and all across America, everybody held hands. Well, we may not physically be able to do that as caregivers, but one way or another, we can form a community that can hold hands, that can hold hearts, that can be there for one another. And that's what we want to do. Right here in the state of Hawaii alone, there's 157,000 of us that can hold hands and support one another. So let's start there. And then wherever you are in the world, let's start caring for one another And, just be kind and be there. And that's what we need more of today anyway. So know that our support sessions are a positive, safe space for you. And that's where you can come to connect with that community. And the more we have these safe spaces, the better we're going to be, the more support we'll get. In fact, we're talking right now about your care receiving plan and the importance of that. So join us and start planning for your care receiving. Also, this show is brought to you by Givers Guides. Givers Guides is a caregiver's guides to caregiving. And it is put together by all of us, right? We do it. Articles written for caregivers, by caregivers, and all kinds of wonderful things in there. You can check it out, get your subscription, because that subscription helps to support Give Me a Break and all the work that we do. This week is all about men's health. So there's all kinds of wonderful articles in there for you caregiving dads and you caregiving husbands and you caregiving partners and all of you out there who are caregiving for another person. And know that we care about you guys too. All right. So there you go. And I'll tell you, this season, we're doing all kinds of things to help you out. We want to motivate you. We want to get you going. We want to help you to be inspired, because doggone it, we live in a negative space all the time. We need more positivity. And that's why we brought Andy Pierce here, the founder of Bounce Up. Welcome, Andy. Hi, how you doing? Oops, there you are. There he is. And he's so pumped today that he's coming to you from his car. I love that. Thank you so much, Andy. And I know how it is. I know how it is to go from one place to another, but you took a moment out to share with our caregivers. And Andy's going to share with you guys a moment of positivity and motivation. So I'm going to just give the stage to Andy, and you guys enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm excited to be here with you for just, this quick moment. So, you sparked something that I think is really valuable to think about, and that is optimism. How optimism is, we call it the engine to being resilient, and how when we have this hope, it drives us to do great things and continue on. And so what I wanted to share with you all today was a technique that's really helpful for relieving stress and for controlling the mind and body, and that's diaphragmatic breathing. So diaphragmatic breathing, I like to look at it from kind of a scientific way of seeing what's really happening in your body when you do diaphragmatic breathing. And so what happens is when we experience any type of stress, it starts typically with something that happens to us. And that's kind of like a trigger, right? That creates this stress. And from that trigger, it influences us to think a specific way. And it's from that thought that drives the way that we feel. So we talked about that last time when I was on. And when you use diaphragmatic breathing, what it does is it helps give your body a physical and mental break from the stress that you're experiencing. So what it does is it acts like a reset of the mind, a reset of the body, and it helps you to take control over both mind and body. So what's beautiful about diaphragmatic breathing is that when you do this also, you activate something called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve runs throughout your whole upper body, and it has really one big job, and that's rest and digest. So what happens is when people feel stress, it starts with the thing that happens that's causing the stress. Then it goes into our thoughts, and then from our thoughts, we feel this emotion. And what typically happens is our breath, we will start unintentionally start breathing with our chest. And it's really our body getting revving up for fight or flight. But there's some situations where we don't want to fight or flight. In fact, a lot of times when we feel stress, we're not able to fight, flight, or freeze. So what we can do though is manage the stress through our breath. And when we do this style of breathing, it then activates the vagus nerve, which then gives your body and mind that break from the stress. So let me share with you just some tips that will be helpful in how to breathe. So there's two major components to diaphragmatic breathing. So the first component is breathing with your stomach. So when we get stressed, we breathe with our chest. We're in here. But when we do diaphragmatic breathing, we're breathing with the lower parts of our lungs, which in turn uses your whole lung. So if you were to fall asleep at night, or every night you fall asleep, or if you watch a child sleeping at night, or even the people that you caregive, when they're asleep, their breathing goes from up here to down here in their tummy. So we want to do this intentionally. So that's the first component. You breathe with your stomach. The second component is how long we breathe in and how long we breathe out. So I've done quite a bit of research, and there's several different cadences that people will talk about. And I've found that the correct cadence really is just slow, whatever that is for you. And you get a lot of the benefit when you breathe out. So in other words, we always want to breathe out for more time than we're breathing in. So for instance, if we're breathing in for around, let's say 5 seconds, you want to breathe out for around 6, 7, or even 8 seconds. If you're breathing in for around 6 seconds, a really slow breath, then you want to breathe out for maybe 8 or even 10 or 12 seconds. So the trick is we're reenacting the way that we breathe when we're feeling completely calm. And when you do this when you're feeling stress, what will happen is your energy and your stress levels within your system, within your body will come down. And it's really hard to think about stressful things when we're doing this breathing. So there's twofold, right? It controls the body, activates the vagus nerve, and gets us to that rest and digest, especially in moments when we're feeling stress. And then the other component is that it helps us control the way that we think. And when you do this, it again resets the mind and body. So if you don't mind, everybody on here, out across the internet here on this call, take a few deep breaths. Okay? So right now, as you're listening, just breathe in slowly for a few seconds and exhale slowly for a few seconds longer. Just feel the air coming in through your nose, out through your mouth. I actually don't mind if you want to breathe just with your mouth or just with your nose. The real benefit comes when you're just slowing the body down, because when we feel stress, what happens is our bodies and minds get too fast. They speed up. So this breathing will help you bring your energy back down, especially when you're feeling stressed. Also, kind of a pro tip is if you're having trouble falling asleep at night, this breathing will bring you back down. It's hard to have your mind racing because oftentimes we might be very tired, but our mind starts racing. And the problem is that we need something to control it. And so this breathing will help us bring our energy back down and help us fall asleep. And it might take 1 minute of breath. It might take 5. It might take even 25. But if you stick to it, it will help you fall asleep. Anyways, that's my mindful moment that I wanted to share with you all today. And it's something I've used in my life that's been really beneficial. So thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Andy, so much. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of breathing. And I mean, I think as caregivers, you feel like you go through the whole day holding your breath. So yes, and I practice that as before I go to bed every night as well. And you do. You sit there and you argue with yourself like this isn't going to work. I'm not going to go to sleep, and then you wake up in the morning.
Yep.
Yep. So thank you so much for your time, and I greatly appreciate it. And I know the caregivers do as well. Aloha, and we'll see
Awesome.
you next week.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Isn't that great? You guys see what I mean? And you can get a hold of Andy. Again, it's just ibounceup.org. So go to your computers, type in or go to your phone, ibounceup.org, and you can check out Andy and what he does and get motivated. And right, motivation is not always, standing up and saying, I got this. Sometimes it's just that soft breath that you give to your body and give yourself some air and take a moment to just release. I love that. I love that. Wow, it's just amazing. I can't wait every week before the show. So if you tune in, at least tune in the beginning and get Andy's motivational moments. And if not, you can always look back at it and catch it when you do later on after you have a moment to breathe and take that moment. But anyway, so I want to bring on my guest today. Really excited because she really aligns with the current theme, especially of what we're doing with Give Me a Break this year. And that's where we're talking about your care receiving plan. And I think that the care that you'll receive is important, but making a plan. And what are you doing to plan? We just go into caregiving, we get thrown into it like chaos. So we don't always think about our plan. Well, she's the founder and CEO of Tumcore, a coaching service that's here to help you navigate through the ups and downs of caregiving and prepare you for care receiving as well. So please welcome my guest today. And I'm so honored to have Isabel Melgarejo. Hello, aloha.
Aloha, Savi. Oh, this is such a great opportunity, and I love being here with your community, and I love the work you do and how you spread a little bit of hope for everybody who's going through this caregiving journey.
Yes. Yeah, the silent ones, right? Other people use their voice in so many ways, but a caregiver's voice becomes quiet and isolated, and they don't always, people don't always know just how much support they need. And I
Yes.
love that you can not only work with them one-on-one, but even as a group and with families. And we'll talk about that more, but please share your caregiving story and why you came to do what you're doing today.
I've always been surrounded by seniors from a very young age, but my journey as a caregiver per se started after my dad's passing. He'd passed away suddenly, playing with my niece, actually. Um, he just had a heart attack and passed away. And my mom at the time was dealing with cancer. And with all the things that she was living and all the changes, she became very depressed. So there was a point in which she wouldn't go to the store to get groceries. I was still living at home. She wouldn't, like, there was no food on the table. She was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And I really admired like everything she did, because every day she would wake up and get off from bed. But I do know that it was really hard for her. And I became a caregiver. I was there for her. I was taking her to doctor's appointments. I was there to make sure that all the bills were getting paid. And I never paid attention to what it was like, because it was just like something I was doing. I stopped going partying. I stopped going out with friends. My life changed, but probably I didn't feel like partying after losing my dad. What I did remember is when I moved here to Texas, and I started noticing that she would call me for everything, from help me with my Netflix to like, hey, I'm getting a surgery. Can you come and just be with me? And I knew that I needed to do something before things got worse. I'm a project manager, so when I see things, I just see the risks coming to me, kind of thing. And I knew that I needed to do something about it, because I didn't want to go through the same circumstances that I had lived when I was 20. I didn't want to, because I know how lonely the journey is. And I know that it can be better for everybody.
Well, the more you know, right, the better. And what you don't know, you don't know. And I love that you said you're a project manager, because I don't think that we all go into caregiving thinking that this is a project. We go into caregiving from calm to chaos. And next thing you know, we're like just going. We're constantly in reaction mode. And taking a step back and analyzing it more as a project and seeing how you can, put things into motion to create a better journey is not always what a caregiver does. So I love that you use the word care, and thank you for sharing your story, because it's so important that we all do that. If we don't start speaking up and sharing our stories, then no one's going to hear them and know that you're not alone. And there's somebody out there who will say, wow, that's me. I went through that. And so you're not by yourself. You're not alone. You don't have to isolate. There is a community out here. And I, I did a little research. I was trying to, the name of your company is unique. And I thought, well, what does that mean? So of course, I had to look it up. And so I guess it's a French expression, right? And it refers to your heart and your devotion. Is that correct?
I don't know if it's a French expression. What I do know is my grandfather had this story about a drum and how this boy that would play the drum and other hearts would follow. And so it is more like the heart beating
Wow.
sort of thing. And I think when you're in the caregiving journey, you sort of forget about yourself and you put everything out there for everybody, for your loved ones. So you go from being like maybe buying the flowers that you love to buying the flowers that your loved one loves. You forget about your favorite type of eggs because you're not going to be doing different types of eggs every morning. Right. So you completely forget about yourself. But I want to bring that to people because life is not about other people. It's about the community that we build. And that community, you are part of that community and you matter.
Yes. I love that. Yes, you do matter. And if something were to happen to a caregiver, then what? Right? Like the caregiver that we recently lost is now who's going to take care of the person they were caring for, and what happens. So, we have to practice wellness and we have to take care of ourselves. And I think that journey and mapping that journey out is definitely something that not a lot of caregivers know what to do. And I think I also wanted to make sure that we talked about you have a care lab, right? Is that what it is? It's called a care lab, I think.
Yes.
And I love that you're launching this because I think this is a program that a lot of caregivers will need. And I hope that you will, it's already ongoing, but I hope that you will continue to do this because I feel like this is definitely a program that caregivers need to have available to them. This is an important resource. And so talk about what your care lab is and maybe some of the things that happen in the sessions.
So, as the name implies, it is a lab. And what do you do in a lab? You don't follow a formula. You play with it and you experiment. And that's what this is about. It is about experimentation and looking at what works and what doesn't. Because what really works for somebody might not work for somebody else. So the program, it is 5 sessions long, and some of the main takeaways from these sessions is that people learn how to have difficult conversations. And it's not that we don't know how to have a difficult conversation, is that we don't know how to manage our emotions when having that conversation. So actually in today's sessions, I was talking about that and it was like, okay, what are other ways in which you can have this conversation? How can you regulate your emotions? Which Andy did a great job at the beginning of this session on setting that intention and setting a good pace. So that's the first step in like how you're regulating those emotions. And that is probably one of the main takeaways of this program. Other key takeaways is what you need to have. So me doing what I do, and it happened to me a few months ago. My husband forgot paying the electric bill. And I was working, I work from home. My power went off, and I was like, so what's happening?
No.
And I didn't know which one, like, who, like, I didn't even know which was the electric company that would serve us.
Oh my goodness. That is like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
No internet. Oh my God. No power.
And it took me 2 hours to fix this issue. So knowing what you need to plan and what to have, because usually when you go to with a lawyer, they will give you the general information. And I'm
Right.
not saying that information is not important. Of course it's important, but everything falls into the details, what you're paying, what you're doing with your everyday life. And if you don't know that, you keep turning off fires over and over again, because this thing that happened to me with the electric bill, that just happens with absolutely everything. And instead of fixing one thing, if for me it took me 2 hours to figure out the electric company, figure out, give, like, obviously, but my name was not in the account, I had to give it. So all of these things took me 2 hours.
Yeah.
If you keep adding things into the equation, obviously you're overwhelmed with things that you shouldn't be doing. So I try to get people to plan ahead, so when things happen, it's not 2 hours. It took you probably 15 minutes because somebody else put your number in the account, because those things are ready. So when things happen, instead of 2 hours, it takes you 15 minutes.
Because a caregiver just doesn't have that time. A caregiver does not have 2 hours to devote to something, and you need to get your ducks in a row and be able to plan for those kind of things. And those are the things that, yes, I think as a caregiver, you go from one fire to another. Just when you put it out, another one bursts up. So I love that you help a caregiver to be more planned and to see things from a different angle. I think it's so important. Because again, taking that pause out of what you're doing is so important. You're just not doing it. They're not doing it. They're just caught up in the day. And then at the end of the day, they fall on their bed and knock out for 15 minutes and have to go right back at it again. So it's a tough thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there are ways to make it easier, let's do that.
Yeah. 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 And I love that you do that. And you're speaking from experience, and then I also combining that with your project managing skills. I mean, this is what our community is about, right? If we don't help each other by giving each other all the tools that we need, and then the tricks to those tools, that's the important thing. It's kind of like a mechanic, right? There's a trick to doing something. If you fix something, you can fix it. Well, I fixed it. I got it. I did it. But then there's a trick to it, right? A way to tighten a bolt, or a way to, do something in a certain tool to use that makes it easier. And just finding that right tool, and then learning how to use it, and then getting the tip of how to make it work even better. When you can get a coach to do that for you, or you can find somebody who can give you that knowledge, that's what Isabel's doing, you guys. What an amazing thing. So yeah, I love the way you describe the lab, because that's right. You're going in and making it fit to each situation, because every caregiving situation is different. Every caregiver's going through a total different situation. The thing we have in common is that we're all frustrated, we're all exhausted, and we're all isolated.
Yeah. And that is the third takeaway: how to build community and a self-care plan for yourself, which includes community. I've always been saying that there is so many resources when you're young. So for new mothers, you have tons of books, you have friends going through the same thing. Everybody's celebrating your new baby.
Yeah.
When you finish college, like, tons of resources. When you're getting married, tons of resources. So a lot of the big changes in our lives, we have a lot of resources. But when we're growing older, there is such a big taboo in getting older, getting sick and dying, that we just don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And because we don't talk about it, there's no resources. So instead of just stumbling upon and trying to figure out, we have to build those resources for us. We need to find those connections. So sometimes with the clients that I work, it's not about the community, the other caregivers, but finding the people that you want to connect with. And sometimes it is, maybe you want to just connect with somebody that will help you with, like, they like gardening, and maybe that's what you want to do, and that's your community. And everybody has different things, but if you build community, even with people that have nothing to do with the caregiving journey, you're constantly feeding your well-being.
Yeah, in one way or another. And it really helps in your wellness and in practicing self-care. Maybe gardening could be part of your self-care and wellness program, and as caregivers, we don't put a wellness program. Yes, you absolutely need that. And I think as you connect to a community, your wellness gets stronger, and you begin to see the importance of putting your health first. Because if something happens to you as a caregiver, then what? So
Yes.
that's that, and so I love what you're doing. I know we're running short on time. So is there anything else you want to share with our caregivers in your final comments?
I would like to share that there are others out there going through the same thing, that they're not alone. Just reach out to somebody.
I love that. Thank you. That's wonderful. I really appreciate that, Isabel. And I appreciate everything that you're doing and for sharing that with us today on the show. And the information is right on the screen. Isabel, you can contact her at Tumcore, and I'm going to spell that for you for those who are listening on podcast and not seeing a screen. It's TUMCOEUR.com. So timcore.com. Check it out. You may not be able to get into this session, but I know that the information she has, and she can cater something even just to you as an individualized program. Get a plan and get support. And Isabel's here to support you. So thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing with us, Isabel. I'm so happy that you were able to come on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been such a pleasure, and I always enjoy the conversations with you.
Oh, thank you. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I hope we'll be in touch soon. Aloha.
Mahalo.
Oh, she's so wonderful. So again, that's Isabel Melgarejo, that you can contact her with timcore.com. Check it out, you guys. What a wonderful program. Sincerely, there are so many wonderful resources out there. I wish I had them. I wish I knew. I didn't. I stumbled through caregiving, and I'm still caregiving, but now I don't stumble as much anymore. So, and for those of you who don't know, my mother is now in hospice for the 5th time. So, we're hoping that 5th time might be the charm, and she will be able to go to her next journey. She hasn't eaten now for almost 2 weeks. So I'm going to see her tomorrow, and a wonderful friend of mine who is a Reiki energy healer is coming with me, and we're going to play some music and do some wonderful energy movement and hopefully help Mom to pass with grace, or at least move to her next journey, wherever that may be. So I'll take all of your wonderful thoughts and kindness and hearts that you've been sending to me with me tomorrow as I do that. And boy, look forward to next week's show. So next week, you're actually going to meet Michael Bankowski and Maya Rudenak of Prosperous Robotics. So you will be hearing all about Rosie the Robot and how they have these elderly care solutions. And of course, more motivation from Andrew, who I'm just so honored to have on every week as we do the show. And just remember that this show is brought to you by Give Me a Break, and of course, by Givers Guides online magazine. And it's a great resource for you. There is community right there. Trust me, all of us can get so much information out of that. Articles, advertisements, all kinds of things that you need to know about, more resources, all in the magazine. So know that that magazine is that you get your subscription, that all of that is going to go to keep what we do at Give Me a Break going. Whew. So Caring Caregivers Show, all about connecting caregivers to resources and community. That is what it is. It's reminding you that your wellness and survival is our goal. Season 15 is so filled with so many amazing resources. I can't wait to share all of them with you. You don't want to miss a single show. But don't worry, if you can make it at 12 noon Hawaii Standard Time on a Wednesday, awesome. You can watch us live. I'm super excited to have you here. But if you can't, don't worry. It lives on all of our social media. You can always watch it. You can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch it on the Caring Caregiver Show YouTube channel, or even on the Give Me a Break YouTube channel. And you can watch it. Just go to live broadcasts and they're all there. And you can see them all. Look for the resource you need. Watch the show. Get to know the person. And you'll see they're a caregiver just like you. They understand and know. And if you still miss that, a week after every live show, you can listen to us on podcast. And for those of you who've been listening on podcast and commenting to me and telling me how much you really appreciated getting through your day, my heart, thank you so much, because that means everything. If we were able to make your day just that much better, then I'm stoked. I'm stoked that that's the thing that we did, because that's what this is all about. The Caring Caregiver Show is here for you. This is not for me that I did this. This is for you, so that as a caregiver, you find joy in your caregiving. And you can check us out on any of those podcast platforms. Gosh, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, I don't know, Google. We're on all of them. Apple, we're on all of them. Okay. And if you really just can't find it, again, just go to caringcaregivershow.com. Right there, caringcaregivershow.com. Go to our website and click on and listen to any audio right then and there. All right. Whatever you do, caregivers, breathe. Just like Andy said, breathe. Take a good belly breath. It's like a good belly laugh, right? And as Isabel is offering, plan. Start planning. Get your project in order, and she's there to help you. But whatever you do, stay connected. Stay connected to your community, and just keep checking on all of our social media for anything else you might need. And just remember to do that. Here's hoping that you are finding joy in your caregiving every week, right here on the Caring Caregiver Show. Thanks for tuning in, and please always be kind to yourself, and especially to those who are caring. Aloha, everyone. Mahalo for your time.